I mean, for whatever reason, maybe they're having a bad day. Is it in our scope to like maybe like advise them and say, hey, maybe?
What do you think?
I think yes. Hopefully.
Is this a collaborative team?
Yeah.
You certainly have every right to confront a physician, but get ready for, I would do it very tactfully.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I would, maybe ask for some clarification. Why do you think this is going on? What leads you to believe it's pneumonia? I mean, you certainly can do that, but, they have all the years of medical school. So, I mean, we're not, but technically, our license says we cannot diagnose. It's the physician who diagnoses. But certainly we can ask for clarification of the diagnosis if we don't follow where they're coming from. I mean, I think it's okay for that. Edwin?
Yeah, and as being a nurse and taking care of your patients, you're the patient advocate. Right?
Oh, certainly. You're the patient. If you feel that something's not quite right, and you certainly can voice your opinion and talk to the physician, but I would just be very tactful with how you do this. Okay, because sometimes physician egos are very easily bruised. Some physicians have no problem with, the collaborative spirit of nursing, and we should be discussing patient problems together, where they're getting their. And some physicians love to teach, and lead you where they got their conclusions from. Others not so much. So, I mean, you'll learn that as you go along. And certainly, I mean, in the nursing home, you're probably not going to see as many physicians. But when you get to the hospital, I love for students to go in the room with the physician and listen to how they talk to the patient, and then come out and ask them questions. You guys have to learn too. So, I mean, you have every right to talk to physicians and get as much information from them as you can. But again, in a very polite, tactful way. Okay? All right, diagnosis then. We cannot use the medical diagnosis. We use what we call the nursing diagnosis. And I think in what I handed out is a Tabor's reference card. That card, I know it's not the best. They used to give me these cards for you guys. But now that the Tabor's is loaded into the PDA, they no longer publish these cards and give them to me. So I have to copy what I have, the few cards I have left. So this is a little reference guide for you to look at. But again, where else do you have a nursing diagnosis reference guide? On your PDA. But this is another one. You can maybe cut it out and put it in a little lamination or whatever, and just keep that. Because you're going to want to look at it in clinical too. So, but take it out right now. Because we're going to use it for a minute. You're going to get in groups in a few minutes and do this all on your own. So let's practice it one time. Okay, I'm short of breath. I got crackles in my left lung. What do crackles mean? It's a sound. Okay, what do they mean? Fluid, usually fluid. Could be like exudate from infection. A little bit of fluid between the alveolar membrane. Okay, so I hear them crackles. I hear, I get some shortness of breath. What else do I have? I have a low pulse ox. Well, fever. Okay, so we said oxygen problem, right? It's probably infection too, but we got oxygen down. So let's look at our nursing diagnosis card. Let's see if we can figure out what NANDA diagnosis we would label this problem. Can we do this?
Yes.
Yes, we can do this. All right, oxygen. You guys all took anatomy, right? Oxygen involves two organs. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Which two? Heart and lungs. Heart is what? Circulation, which is also perfusion, and ventilation. Okay, so there's two things going on for oxygen. Agreed? We got to get the oxygen in, and then we got to get it out the fingers and toes. All right, so on your car, you don't see the word oxygen, do you? What do you see? Ventilation and circulation, right? Is it circulation or perfusion? What's it say on the card? Let me look. Circulation. So, I ask you a question. Is this a ventilation issue or a circulation issue?
Ventilation.
All right, I think I already heard the answer, but I think you said it already. Which NANDA diagnosis is going to fit our problem if we're saying the medical diagnosis is pneumonia?
Impaired gas.
Okay, it's going to be a gas exchange issue. It's happening in the lung. Pneumonia is an infectious process of the alveolar tissue, right? In the alveolar tissue, in the lung tissue. So this is going to be a gas exchange issue. So our NANDA diagnosis is going to be what? Impaired gas exchange. Correct?
Yes.
Ineffective. Okay, you can say impaired and effective. I mean, they're always changing their terminology, those NANDA folks. Okay, impaired or ineffective, impaired gas exchange. Now, we have to say what that gas exchange impairment is related to. That's how nursing diagnoses are formulated, contrived, conceived, whatever. So you have to give the step, impaired gas exchange related to. Okay, what's it related to? You can't say pneumonia. Can't say, is the impaired gas exchange related to shortness of breath? No. What's the impaired gas exchange related to? I know you all want to say pneumonia, but you can't say pneumonia. What's going on in the lung? Infection, inflammation. So, can we say that the impaired gas exchange is related to an infectious process in the lung?
Yes.
Can we say that?
Yes.
So we're saying pneumonia without saying pneumonia. Right? Don't you love it? But it works. It works. Because we cannot diagnose. You can't say pneumonia. But you certainly can say, because you're really saying what the pathophysiology of pneumonia is. So it helps you understand what's going on. There's an impaired gas exchange because I've got an infection in the lung that's causing exudate, which is causing the crackle, which is causing the hypoxia, which is causing the shortness of breath. Right? All the way down the line. So, take it one more step. Impaired gas exchange related to infectious process in the lung as evidenced by. What's your evidence? Freckles in the left base. Shortness of breath. Pulse ox of 89. Okay? Your symptoms are listed. That's your evidence. Can you do this? Okay, you can do this. So that's diagnosis. You've all made a diagnosis now. Don't you feel wonderful? Okay, so planning. There's a couple things that we do in planning. When you plan for a vacation, what do?
Research.
Okay, you do some research, and you figure things out. You figure out like what you're going to do, right? I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to go to Disneyland. You know, you're going to do all the different activities. But you plan for them, right? You don't just go and say, I'll do whatever happens. You plan in advance for it, don't you? And maybe you set a goal. Like I'm going to, do this kind of thing. I'm going to keep within my budget within the 7 days of my vacation. So you set a goal or an expected outcome, right? So the things that we're going to do in planning are we're going to develop goals or / expected outcomes. Because what's a goal? Something you want to achieve.
Yes.
What's your goal for this class? Pass, right? And do we have short-term goals and long-term goals?
Yes.
Okay, what's a short-term goal for this class? Pass the first test. I think that's a good short-term goal. All right? And some of us high achievers will say get 100 on the first test. Don't go there. All right? So, certainly a good goal to set would be to do, a short-term goal would be to pass the first test. What's your long-term goal? Pass the course, or even let's take it further, get to graduate and pass the NCLEX. So in nursing, taking